Thank you. So our second part on the integration of advisors is also something where the CAP networks can really play a very important role. And to start with, this is the article that says that it is expected, first of all, that member states organize advice, which was not an obligation except for cross-compliance and a few certain fields. Now we ask that they organize advice in an inclusive way so that economic, environmental and social dimensions are covered, which is very broad, it's almost everything, and that it is based on up-to-date technological and scientific information coming from research and innovation. So in fact, advisors should know all now. That's a bit the summary. And further, this is also a new thing. We didn't manage to get it through the council last period. Advisors must now be impartial and be able to provide innovation support. Here comes this obligation for innovation support. It's also one of the obligatory fields listed in Article 13. In particular for our operational groups, for the preparation process, step 1, as well as step 2, the implementation process. So this is the regulation. And now I'm going to give you a few slides to get inspired. So you can find more ideas in this report from the SCAR AKIS group. I just picked out a few for you to get some inspiration. First of all, the basis must be that everybody, CAP networks, everybody involved should understand that advising is not only coming in a hierarchical way and saying you have to do it like this, but that listening and talking is very important, this interactiveness, and making sure that you look to all aspects on the farm and not just one certain thing, and the farm and also the farmer's context is important. Does the farmer want to grow into an industrial farm, or is he wanting to diversify or whatever? So really adapted holistic advice. So we are having, luckily, we got rid of the public procurement, so that's solved now. What is very much important for us now, and there is an output indicator on this, is that we want advisors to participate in, and obviously then they can share also the knowledge that is produced, this innovative knowledge, in operational group innovative projects. In average, we have only 9% of the participants in operational groups are advisors, which is really low. And I know that in some countries it's almost 100%, but there are probably quite a lot, if I look to the average, quite a lot of countries where advisors are just not involved. It's researchers and a few farmers maybe, or companies, and they are in the operational groups, while you miss this possibility of advisors who can bring in practical knowledge, who share then to their clients what comes out, who can also facilitate between the researcher and the farmer, because they see the both worlds. So really important. We will probably have to train the advisors for that, for the soft skills, and also on all these innovative techniques, all this new knowledge. So we expect, and this is being discussed in the trilogue, that there would be possibly even an obligation to train advisors. But anyway, it is absolutely interesting to do so, and to have a number of days obligatory per year, a minimum of 20 I would say, 20 hours per year, and probably much more. Also think about tools for innovation support and for advising, digital tools. Fair Share is collecting those now. There's a Horizon project doing that. Next, think about different forms. So you have this individual holistic advice, but you could combine it with maybe 2 or 3 lessons, trainings with a bigger group, while then afterwards you go to the individual farm to fine-tune exactly to the situation of that farmer. There are also discussion groups which work very well in a number of countries. Advisors themselves, now we turn it around, they can also provide training. They are very good trainers because they know practice. It's not only receiving training, but also providing training, or doing workshops, facilitating workshops, leading demonstration events, are all types of advisory work that are really very useful and that help this integration of advisors into the AKIS. So, of course, we have to update the advisors' knowledge, not only with training, but also with a number of other events. So we need to get this public role for advisors, strengthen support for them. For instance, this back office, who is going to be now the guardian of the public knowledge. This will cost money. A number of people will have to invest in this, these specialist advisors. And Anton Jagodic made a very good presentation on that in the EIP seminar. There's a team there which is really supporting the field advisors with specialistic knowledge. And this will require some investment in this. Cross visits, advisors going abroad to other countries to learn peer-to-peer from other advisors, very useful intervention. It's important to be very open, not to, like we did in the past, in fact, restrict just a number of themes. You could do so because in Article 13 there are a number of obligatory fields, but please don't do so because, as you saw, we are asking to cover the whole sustainability and all up-to-date knowledge and innovation. So you have to really think about freedom for new themes, new instruments. The bio-based chains are coming up. There's more and more interdialogue with society and social projects, etc. The whole value chain approach is becoming much more important, short supply chains, etc. So new advisory teams, give them the possibility. Maybe you can first work in an operational group to develop a number of things, but from that you could grow into, some of the partners could grow into this team and become advisor for that team. It's interesting, of course, to link with research facilities. This goes a bit with what Patrick said, and linked to innovative investments. I know more than one country that when a farmer buys an innovative investment, that they ask to take advice with it, because such innovative farming machinery, let's say, is often quite complicated. And farmers tend to say, oh, it's not working, if they don't find exactly how it goes. And then there you have a trusted person to help, and maybe if needed, contact with the company again to see how things can be solved, because an innovative machine might also still have a few things that are not fully user-friendly or not working. So also there's a possibility to combine measures of investment with advice. We already spoke about advisory networks, to have these knowledge flows among advisors, in particular for new knowledge. It's very important to have that also with the other advisors that don't have that knowledge yet. A way of working could be to have internships or placements in experimental research stations, so that they can learn, not that they have to be there like Erasmus or Marie Curie for a year or more, but maybe just 5 days to pick up a number of things could be interesting, maybe in another country or in another region, or on another topic where you are not specialist in. So the importance we already mentioned to involve also the private advisors. They are often not known if you ask the managing authorities, who are your private advisors, they will have many difficulties to give you a list. We luckily have a Horizon project working on that, but they are of course struggling with the same thing. But gradually, because now money will be paid for advice, gradually the list will grow. Support digitalization, we already said. Very important, simplify administration. We told this already earlier. As I said, innovation support is a must, is an obligation now. So we want, because we saw the very good effects in the countries or the regions where they had it, that this is really a must for everybody. So it has become an obligation, but the way how you implement it, whether it is one big innovation hub or whether you have several innovation brokers on different places, or even, as in my region, a mixture of that. We have this innovation hub of 30 people that can cover everything. And then in a few, we have 10 applied research stations, and they each have a person for innovation support too. So you can have a mixed model. For advisors, of course, this is the center of AKIS strategic approach, regular interaction with researchers, and that can be maybe more these specialists who can spread it then to their colleagues in workshops, in biannual meetings. Invite these researchers to on-farm demos, because it's a place to get contacts. And for them also, they are not like in the time when I was studying, many of the researchers were sons of farmers. That's why they studied agricultural science. But this is not the case anymore. So they are sometimes very unaware of how a farmer is reasoning or how a farm even looks like. So invite them to on-farm demos. It's a place where informal contacts can really be built, and the interconnection can start. We already spoke about the back office with specialist advisors. I think I don't have to repeat that. The participation in operational group projects, the advisory networks. And here you see the figures I mentioned just earlier. If you look to our operational groups, we have only average in the EU, 9% of the partners are advisors. And this is really low, because on the bottom of this slide, you can see what added value they can bring. First of all, they can capture from their clients' practice needs, so they can bring in good ideas and practices also, farming practices, they know all about it. They can broker, because they are some kind of intermediate, they can broker to set up operational groups, they can facilitate operational groups. They are very good disseminators, because they, first of all, they know how to do it. Secondly, they have a clientele, they have a number of clients they are serving, and they might be involved in on-farm demonstrations or events or whatever. You could make use of them for dissemination. And they will do it in the very best way, because they know how to talk to farmers in the language that they like to hear. And this is not, I mean, it's not about English or not English, but it's about what are their points of interest, and working on those points of interest. And they can also make nice bridges, of course, between the CAP and Horizon. So here, schematically, in such an innovation project, in an operational group, where can they work? First of all, the ideas, they can capture these ideas, then they can broker in step one, then they can facilitate once the project is running, and when you have the results, they can disseminate. I'm going to skip this one. I'm looking to the time. Just to say that an idea of a farmer can be picked up by such an innovation support center, and can be very, very practical and much cheaper than other solutions that are offered by companies. So these are opportunities to have real innovative ideas if you have such innovation support services in your country that can capture such ideas and work with it. This is a list of the different functions that an innovation support service can have. First two we already said, brokering and facilitation, but they are also in my region, in every week in the Agriculture Journal, they promote an innovative farmer. So after some time, all farmers think, oh, I'm stupid if I'm not innovating. So it's really awareness raising that they are doing. And every week they give examples of innovative farmers. They can also give this individual advice, coaching farmers. If they have an idea that's just fitting on their farm, they can help. They can do brainstorming events around certain themes. What is always very successful is working with prizes and with runners up, and then 10 final mini prizes and one winner. And along this whole process, you have a lot of communication and promotion for advisors, for innovation. Dissemination is also part of what they can do. And what is very important, of course, is that they have a very good network, connect with SMEs, with any kind of service, researcher, funding body. They have to know, indeed, as Hannah, I think, was saying, they have an event in Estonia. But here, in fact, what I'm showing is that this is a constant event. An innovation support service should constantly know which are the innovation funding sources. And then you can have a link there to watch. Oh, no, I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, almost there. Some examples, because we have a result indicator, number 2, about integrating advisors with the AKIS. And I had a lot of questions around this result indicator. So how do you do this? What counts as integrating advisors within the AKIS? So I made 2 slides with all kind of activities that could count for this result indicator. From the simple one-to-one advice, the specialist advisor, the innovation support, the training, receiving training, giving training, joining knowledge exchange events with researchers, writing in agriculture journals, on websites, social media, etc. Leading, like we have in Europe, thematic networks. I expect that, and it's already, in fact, we copied the idea from France. There are thematic networks at national level, which is very nice. It collects all the existing knowledge, brings it together, and advisors again could lead this, and this could be another activity to integrate them into the AKIS, because this will be multi-actor. They could organize farm demonstrations, fairs, other events, be a partner in a research project, not an operational group, but something else, in a communication event. They could have this mobility budget. So you see, there are many, many things how you can integrate these advisors much better and make interlinkages with the other actors in the AKIS system. So, and it would look like this. So on the left side, you have a number of interventions with the output indicators. Training of advisors will fall under output indicator 29. But it will also count for the result indicator on the number of advisors integrated within AKIS. Back office work, idem. Mobility budget, idem. Innovation support will count for another output indicator, either O2 or O1, depending whether he is in the operational group or giving innovation advice, but it also counts for result indicator 2. Providing innovation support also counts for result indicator 2, leading these thematic networks, on-farm demonstration. So there are plenty of things that really count for this integration of advisors that we would like to see. And so we hope that you can push a little bit these advisors to get more connected and not to play in their own silo, and to get better and more competent and better interconnected with the rest of the AKIS.